What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're here for episode number 15 of our My Team journey. If you haven't seen the F2 2021 car patch revealed, I suggest you go and watch that video first before you go watch this My Team video. So heading into this weekend, we're heading off to Suzuka, a track that I'm literally no good at. This track is a bit of a bogey track for me. I am never that pacey around here, and yet, because of the curbs are so deadly at a few other tracks in this year's F1 game, I don't rate my chances of getting out or getting anywhere near the top 10s. So, not really looking forward to this one. But we have a personnel department asking us that Robert has been putting in a tremendous amount of work recently, but they're worried that it may lead to a burnout. So they suggest sending on a spa day to help prevent them from happening. I decided to decline that just so we can boost up his experience, because that's definitely something that a rookie literally lacks when you sign them. So getting them to have the experience and to equally match that with his racecraft, his pace, his awareness, and his focus. If we can make literally all of that level by getting his experience up, then I have no doubt that Robert can be a very pacey driver heading into Season 2. So getting through practice now, we got through everything relatively okay. Didn't quite get the other goals achieved during the progress. I just quickly did a quick practice there. Robert P18, us P14. But if you looked at that lap, you would see that if you looked at the first sector, which you will in qualifying, you'll see what I mean by the curbs on the game. Russell and Vettel getting 5 grid place penalties each. I don't know what they're for. Maybe grid penalties. We are getting towards the pointy end of the year, so other drivers could be taking grid penalties before the end of the year. I can tell you guys right now that we are going to be taking another grid penalty before the end of the year. So not good, but there's nothing we can do about it. So as we go into qualifying, you'll see exactly what I mean by how deadly the curves are. Like, literally, I'll put half my tire on there or whatever, and literally it would literally spin you out. So you guys are about to see what happens. But now let's go to qualifying, but don't expect to get a Q1 though. So here we go then for qualifying for the Japanese Grand Prix. So let's just see how long we can survive. And well, there you go, we didn't survive very long. And that's what I mean. You put half your wheel on the curve, you will literally spin out. That's one of the weakness I have of using a controller, because I don't have much control with the controller. So we go into the SS once again. This is our second run, so I can get the first bit right, but it's through the rest of it that's the tricky part. So I stay well away from the curb which I spun out. So I used quite a bit of that curb, and I don't spin out. So sometimes I can get away with that, sometimes I don't. And of course the last one to exit the S's is really the deadly one. We got through 130R okay, so we're 21 and a half odd seconds up. No, we're 22 and 2/10 up. At the end of our first run, what's the time? It's a 30.8. A little bit more time to find, especially through the S's. The S's is where I'm literally the most concerned about, because I just am. I'm just trying to put in the maximum, but I'm also trying to stay away from those curves. So we're just over 2/10 up as we enter the first sector. The first half of the lap is pretty much my weakness, especially here at the hairpin. I try to put the foot down as much as I can, but I'm also worried because the back end is just unstable as well, because I try to put the foot down coming out of the hairpin, but it's another one of those corners where you just have to be so delicate with the throttle. Into the last couple of corners, now through the chicane, we're going to try and shortcut up to the line. Probably could have done that a little bit earlier. We're just going to by just over a second, and it puts us P21. So 0.068, or no, just over a tenth actually, from Robert Schwartzman. So yeah, well done Robert for qualifying ahead of us. So, this is another thing that's, you know, we probably could look at is probably more rear downforce, but too much rear downforce means the car won't be pointy enough at the front. So I'll do that later. Let's go to the race.
We come to you live today from the Mie Prefecture in the south of Japan's Honshu Island for a race that has seen many title deciders over the years. Some simple, some controversial, but all contributing to a legacy that makes the Japanese Grand Prix an indispensable stop in any Formula One season. 18 corners make up a lap of the incredible figure-of-8 Suzuka circuit, with 10 to the right and 8 to the left, for a distance of 3.6 miles. Average lap speeds around here are fairly quick. If it stays dry, then expect somewhere in the region of 136 miles per hour. A warm welcome to Anthony Davidson, who's beside me in the commentary box today. So, let's briefly discuss Lewis Hamilton. That was a great win in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs, so it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Valtteri Bottas lines up on pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Sainz, Lando Norris and Verstappen, Stroll, Giovinazzi, Perez and Kimi Raikkonen, Vettel, Ricciardo, Mick Schumacher and Fernando Alonso, Skip, Tsunoda, George Russell and Esteban Ocon, Latifi, Schwartzman, Gasly and Nikita Mazepin.
Well then, getting promoted up a few spots, eh? So we're in P15 for the start of this race. Looks like we're doing a soft to hard race. I was probably thinking about doing a medium to hard race, only because the softs won't last very long going through the S's, because they will overheat like crazy. But we are starting in the softs. We are going to hard tyres. Let's see how long this lasts. 5 red lights and we are go. Looks like an okay start up against Mick, but Fernando gets a ripping start. Look at the speed of Tsunoda and that AlphaTauri, and Ocon who gets us, and Robert who comes out of bloody nowhere. So let's see how long we can survive this race and maybe avoid the curves to go with it. We get through turn 1 and 2 relatively okay. Well, we've taken a bit of curve there, but we don't spin out. So, wow, so that happens. So sometimes you spin that, sometimes you don't. Let's see how long that lasts. So we're right behind Tsunoda now. A bit of a little mistake at the exit, but can we somehow stay with these guys for a little while longer? Mick has a little think about up the inside, but doesn't quite get the move done. He's on medium compound tyre, so he may be going to mediums to hards. He'll be on fresher medium tyres. We have a look at Tsunoda. We tap the rear of Vettel, but we don't get the exit, whereas Tsunoda does. Look at the speed of that AlphaTauri. That is ridiculous speed. We've run a little bit wide around the fast right-hander, and now Mick is up our inside. We should be able to hold relatively clean here at the spoon section. I actually don't even know the name of that corner, but Ocon actually gets past Mick in the process, so he saw the opportunity and he decided to go for it. So that was the first lap. We get through relatively unscathed, and we have a bit of a moment coming off the corner here, and Ocon has hit us and he chops off a bit of his front wing. Robert gets alongside. We were on the grass and we lost the car, and Ocon basically just had nowhere to go. So I think he has a little bit of front wing damage, but now Mick has got alongside us. We're in a sandwich now with Gasly, Russell and Mick. We're going to go up the inside into 130. This will be a gutsy move. We can pull it off, and I think we have, without any contact. So we have made probably the move of the century without any contact. Look at this. This is on board with Russell. How all of us got through 130R with no contact, I will never know. But and that was Latifi there. He backed out of it. He was like like second out of that group, and he's dead last of the train. Gasly's view, wow, we were literally that close to Mick Schumacher. It's not funny. So even on board with Mick, wow, he actually had to leave the track in order to avoid contact. So, well, that is clearly one of the best moves I have ever done in my life. DRS is now enabled. We've actually somehow got a run on our teammate here. We're going to try to go around the outside at the turns 1 and 2, but we've gone off the track in doing so. And so, well, we touched at the exit of turn 2 because I wanted to let him through and have the place. So, let's see now how long we can stay with Robert, especially in the dirty air. This is Pierre Gasly coming up our inside. He was always going to get us at some stage, so I thought, you know what, if it's on the straight, we'll let him go. We're not going to make it too easy for him. Robert puts up a bit more of a fight, actually. He actually forces him almost to the grass on the far inside, but in the end, he just has to give up the place. So 6 laps down, not too much else happened, just trying to stay with Robert as much as I can, because as I said, I don't like this track. It's not really one of my favourites, in all honesty, so just trying to stay with Robert, as well as, you know, running my own race and holding up Mick Schumacher and George Russell in the time being. So lap 10 now, we're into the pit lane. This is where we are going to go onto the hard compound tyres, and we'll take those to the end of the race. If a late safety car comes out, we might bolt on the mediums, because I don't like the tyres overheating through the S's, because that's literally where we lose the rest of the time. So I wouldn't like to be doing that. Wow, that's a slow start. 2.9 seconds, so basically 3. Robert came in the lap before us, so he's trying to extend the gap, and there he goes right there. I was looking behind to Nick Latifi, so I think we're on 1 lap or so fresher tyres than Latifi, so we should be able to break away from him as much as we can, or at least, or try and break away, and maybe try and keep pace with Robert. Well, we'll see what happens in the time being. So, but we've got Latifi having a look up the inside. It's 130R, boy, another close call. But as that happened, if you try and listen to the background, where's the sound gone? Literally, where's it gone? I don't understand what happened there, but got one of the cars coming out of the pit lane. That's George Russell. Daniel Ricciardo is out of the race, and I think the safety car has been deployed. I think it has. Trying to match the delta. Yes, it has. The safety car has been deployed for Daniel Ricciardo, DNFing from the session. So, what on earth has happened to Danny Rick? He's had a crash somewhere. So, this is how it started. Oh, he's having a fight with Max going into turn 1. They've got Mick Schumacher in front, and one of the Aston Martins right behind him. So, Max on mediums, Danny on hard. He's trying to fight this. He's sort of hanging in there, but now he's side by side with the Aston Martin, and he loses it there. Did he do that on his own, or did he get a helping hand from the Aston? Oh, that's impossible to tell. I completely forgot to go back and have another look at the vision, but yeah. So Danny is obviously out of the race, but we cannot focus on our fellow countrymen at the moment, because we've got a race of our own to get back underway. So a few laps later, lap 16, we're getting back to green flag racing once again. And, well, it's not a great race. We're already a second behind before we even get to the control line. So Latifi is right behind us. He might even consider a move going into turn 1. We are going to give him no space whatsoever, and we firmly shut the door. So, as I've been saying a few times in this video, let's see if we can keep pace with Robert. That is the main aim for these videos, or for the rest of the race, actually. So, getting through the S's for the first time, that was relatively clean, apart from taking probably a little too much curb at the exit of the S's. So, let's see what happens in the last 11 laps. See if we can somewhat stay close to Robert, or maybe even try and get past. Yeah, if we if we can. But we do have a few other cars behind us, including Esteban Ocon, who is literally going to have a look at 130. We're going to give him a little bit of space, but not too much, and we keep him bound at the track limits. Which is a good thing to see, because if I ran wide, I would have just given him the spot anyway. But I think with Ocon being on mediums, a softer one compound softer, and he's got the DRS. DRS would have been enabled at this point. So look at that, he just blazes bars with no issue with his pace whatsoever, and the straight line speed of that Alpine. It's one of the cars that we don't see very often, but I'm hoping that we'll be able to see it often, maybe towards the end of the year, where we take a brand new engine, or maybe heading into season 2, depending with the reg changes. So, and Ocon ended up getting past Robert relatively easily. So, but just like one of the Williams or Gasly, Robert did give Ocon a little bit of grief, but they both got around cleanly. So now with 5 laps to go, let's see if we can get anywhere near close enough to Robert, as we have Latifi, who's thinking about a move and he tags us. That is just absolutely lovely, and that ruins our battle in terms of trying to catch Robert. So here he is. Was the move really necessary? Did I block? Or did I give him no room? On board with Latifi. He's got the speed, but I didn't think he would even think about it. But me going back and looking at it, I may have come into his line. Maybe I could have left him the space. Who knows? But it's 4 laps to go. We're not gonna score points regardless. So if we pass him or not. So he ends up going onto the soft compound tyres. Maybe try and steal the fastest lap. But in that Williams, I just don't see how that's gonna work. So a couple laps to go now. So the battle to try and get to Robert didn't fan out at all. Bottas comes down the final turn and he wins ahead of Hamilton, and the Mercs are literally coming back at Red Bull in the championship fight. So things could get a little bit spicy, and Bottas originally set the fastest lap, but Hamilton, of course, with the slipstream along here and the back straight, you would think so, he'd get the fastest lap. For us, out of the chicane now, up to the line, it is going to be P19 for us, P18 for Roberts. Pretty good race for Robert, up a few spots. For us, in 15th place, to be honest, I didn't think we were going to get anywhere near the top, towards the top 10, or maybe even stay where we are. I mean, it was going to be impossible for us, if we made those mistakes like we did a few times during the race. So Bottas wins ahead of Hamilton, and Charles Leclerc gets up onto the podium with a pretty good drive from the Ferraris. I didn't think that Ferrari would be up there. So Mercedes 1 and 2, Ferrari 3 and 4, and Lando Norris up there in 5th, Verstappen P7. So things are starting to go away from Max in the championship fight. As you can hear in the background, this is actually a separate recording that I did, because I'm literally limited to storage space. I can only record for a certain amount of time, and just keep a consistent recording going. So in this separate recording, I was able to hear the sound a lot better. So I mean, going back through the editing, I don't know what happened to the sound, but when I went back to look at the original recording, when the sound stopped, it was perfectly fine. So I think this is an editing issue. I hope it's not an issue for the remainder of the season or for future episodes. Not much in the drivers and constructors standings. Aston Martin move up above Alpine. I didn't think that we were going to get anywhere higher than our original position. So I think P8 in the drivers standings, maybe a top 15 in the drivers. We're probably going to have to get at least another points finish if that's going to happen for us. Good haul of cash there, looking towards saving that for the facilities, and that's something that probably could be useful for us next season, the facilities, because if we can get the fabrication upgrades the fabrication upgrades for each department, which means we'll be able to do more upgrades at the same time, and that's something that I probably could look into for Season 2 and onwards. So yeah, so our aim for the rest of the year is save the cash where we can and whenever, and basically trying to get this car ready for Season 2, as well as, you know, trying to salvage a result. And, you know, there's still a long way to go. There's still, what, 4 or 5 races to go, with us having to take another grid penalty to go with that. So we are going to have to change components before the end of the year, otherwise we could have ourselves with maybe 1 or 2 DNFs before the end of the year, and that's something that I'm not willing to have. So anyway guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Until the next one, guys, I'll see you next time.